It says it won't collapse. Despite all of that, because it's built on the rock. But anyone who hears my teaching and doesn't obey, it is what? Foolish. Like a person who builds his house on sand. And notice what happens to them. The rain and floods come, winds beat against that house. So, if you notice something, the one who builds it on the rock, the rains come and the storm comes and it beats against that house. The one who doesn't builds it on sand, the rains come, the storms come and build against. Yeah, the rains are going to come and everyone's going to have issues in life. Find a person that at some point in life doesn't go through something. I don't know them. Do you know them? Everyone's going to go through stuff. The poorest people financially and the richest all go through stuff. And everyone in between. But the question is, what is the foundation? What is the foundation? It says here that the one who builds it on the sand, when the rains and floods come and the winds beat against it, it will collapse with a mighty crash. Comes crashing down. But you and I have a tendency to put our efforts. I want you to take inventory right now. What are you building? Think about the majority of the energy that it takes, the time that it takes, the things that you're doing in your life every single week. You were here last Sunday. Most of you were here last Sunday. What did you do this last 7 days? I mean, does it seem like it was just almost like just yesterday that you were here? Right? Over the course of 7 days are now gone from your life. 7 days. You have, don't mean to be morbid here, but you have 7 days less on earth than you had a week ago. 7 times 24, I'm not going to do the math, but 7 times 24 hours, that's the amount, that's at least 150, 60, 170 hours, right? That's at least that amount of hours that you don't have left. I thought about this morning when I was thinking, I'm going to preach this message today. And I have these weird thoughts every once in a while. I thought, God, I'm really grateful for this opportunity to preach this message today. And I had this weird thought. How many more will I preach? How many more? I don't know how many I've done, how many God has allowed me to do up to this point. I have no idea. And I'm willing and ready and excited about doing as many as possible. But how many more? I might have thousands more. This might be the last one. I really don't know. But every single one of them means something. And I said, God, I don't know who it's for, but I know you want to have an impact on someone. Where are we building? For some of you, you think back in this last week, and I ask you, what did you do or what did you accomplish for God this last week? And you can't answer. You were busy. You spent the hours. The hours went by just like everyone else. And you can't answer. Are you building on things that have an eternal value? Or did you waste so much time? A lot of people say, I want to do great things for God, but I just don't have time. Why? Because you're spending your time on the value of things that amount, I don't mean to be mean here, but they amount to nothing. And I'm not being mean, I'm being loving when I tell you. Quit wasting your time doing all the stuff that amounts to nothing. Playing games on your phone, watching videos on your phone, looking at the drama of what so-and-so else is doing, worrying about what someone thinks about you, getting anxious about things that aren't even happening, letting all your energy just drain out. Well, meanwhile, there's something to build, and you're not doing it. And before you know it, you're old like me, or even older like some of you, and the time, sorry, don't mean to be offensive, but, the mirror fits. And before you know it, some of you really took offense to that one. Before you know it, your energy, what you had. The things you could be doing now, which you're like, okay, I don't want to do it. Guess what? The time's going to come when you can't do it. You're carrying stuff around the church. Things need to be moved. We're moving stuff for Operation Christmas Child. Just a couple weeks ago, there's still some boxes there. Just a couple weeks ago, I was carrying, by myself in here, I'm not looking for a medal, trust me, but it needs to be moved. I'm carrying all these notebook boxes in here where nobody knows. There's still some against the wall. I'm carrying them up the stairs. Man, that's a lot of stairs. Don't look like much. But I'm carrying them up these 12, yes, there are 12 of them, 12 steps, dumping them down, coming down, really getting frustrated that I was tired after like 2 trips of doing those. And I'm doing this for like a half an hour, right? And I'm thinking, oh, man, gosh, I'm out of shape. But then I had to think to something. I thought, you know what? I'm just thankful I can do it. And then I had the weird thought, God, I don't know how long I'll be able to do that. The time may come where I'm not going to be able to do that. But I'll be thankful and I'll use the energy that you gave me the energy to do it today, even though I'm huffing and puffing and sweating and all that kind of stuff. What are you building? Because it says when Jesus finished saying these things, the crowds were amazed at his teaching, for he taught with real authority, quite unlike their other teachers of the religious law. They're like, wait a minute, that makes sense. How much longer is God giving you? Guess what? You don't know. Maybe you're in here, you're in your 20s, or even a little younger. Let's see, on average, how much time you have left? Probably about at least 50 years, if Jesus waits that long. Average lifespan is about 73. Oh, sorry if you're getting close to that. You're like, can we take that average up? No problem. Hey, I said average. Doesn't mean you're average, right? Jill's looked 40 for the last, actually she looked 20 when she was 40. I don't know. Jill's looked young for a long time. What are you, about 52 now? No way. Are you serious? See, she's going to bust that average to shatter. She's going to shatter that thing. Jill's got at least another 20 years, right? But that's the average. But you know why they call it average? You know why they call it average, for those of you who did the math, right? You know how average works. There's someone like Jill who's 73 and don't look it, is in great shape, and she'll probably go to 90 at least. But to get an average of 73, that means that some of you aren't going to make it there. To get that average, that means some of you are going to be gone by 50. I already beat that. Hate to admit it. That's why they call it average. There's some that make it longer. There's some that make it less. There's some of you that may not be here next week. And I got to ask you, I want to finish with this. If you knew this was your last week, what conversations do you need to have that haven't been had? What do you need to tell people that you're waiting for that opportunity to tell them that you haven't said? What are some of the things that you need to get in order right with God that you have failed to do, that you think you have all kinds of time? What would be the most important things in your life if you had 1 week left? And the reason I ask you that question is because the answer to that question is what you should be building. That's what you should be building. All priority should go to that. There's certain things in your life that you're spending all your time doing right now that would not matter if you had 1 week left. You'd blow them all off. and put them aside. You'd say, this is the most important. That's what you should be building. Even if it's for the next 60 years, that's what you should be building. Each one of us. You can't live as if you have all the time in the world because you don't know that. And even if you do, you don't know that the person that's going to be impacted by you has even another day.